Feel weird.
Here at the Dirty Life location, the shop location, and today we're going to be testing out some really interesting products. We have RJWC pipe comparison, so we're going to be taking a look at this 2019 Outlander XMR brought to you by Bay Marine. They kindly gave us this unit for a little bit so we can do some testing with pipes and everything like that. So what we're going to do is explain some of the decibel changes between stock, the RJWC Mud Edition as you know it, and the new Krossflow pipe, which you can see here. So here's the Mud Edition. This is what I have on my bike. This is the new Krossflow, and we're also going to be taking a look at some of these quiet cores. And while we're at it, we have this really sweet cover made by Lucky 7 for Bay Marine, and all color matched for the bike. So it'll be really interesting to find out the decibel ratings between stock, the Mud Edition, and the Krossflow. And that's what we really want to focus on, is find everybody a performance option that's actually quieter than some of these Mud Editions. There's laws and rules out there, and a lot of folks that just want something a little quieter but have the quality and the build of these RJWC pipes with a little bit lower of a decibel rating. So we're gonna find out. It's very simple to pull these pipes off, as you guys know. So we have the stock pipe obviously on there that we're going to do some testing. We're going to focus on getting a decibel rating from a standstill idle, a 3K RPM, and a drive-by. So we're going to do that for each step, and we're going to find out what these pipes are all about. So thanks Bay Marine, thank you Dirty Life for putting all of this together. It's a great opportunity for me. It's a great opportunity to figure out some of these differences in pipes and really clarify some questions that everybody has had about some of this stuff. I think it'll be an interesting experiment, and let's get into it. So I've got a 78.8 decibel rating at idle on the stock pipe. My speech brings it up to 86, so obviously that's very quiet. So now we're gonna do 3 grand. Rev it up to 3 grand for me. Ready? Good. So on the stock pipe, at idle, we had a 78 to 79 to give a fair assessment at idle on the stock. So at 3 grand, we had a 88 decibel rating, and I think that's actually really, really quiet. So that's pretty cool for the stock. And now we're going to do a drive-by around 30K an hour on a closed course with a professional driver. I want you to drive like right here on me. Okay, so we're gonna have our decibel meter. This one is to find out what it's like for a bystander to listen to the stock pipe at this point. So Trevor here is gonna drive by at about 30 kilometers an hour. And like I said, this is to simulate somebody, a bystander near a machine. Good. We'll double check, but I got 83. Yeah, yet again I got 82.7. So we're good with that. And we'll get Trevor to put it back in its spot, and we'll switch to the RJWC Mud Edition. So we've got the Mud Edition on, and as Trevor and I were looking at it, we're just admiring it. But geeky stuff aside, there is no core on the inside, so this is just the straight Mud Edition RJWC. And we're going to do the same tests. So we're going to do the idle, the 3K, and the 30-kilometer drive-by. So we're going to begin with that. Trevor's going to start her up, and we're going to get a reading. Yeah, 3,000. So here's the 3K test. Go ahead. Good. 91 and 94 so far. We'll do a drive-by.
Is this one on?
Yeah, it's good. Okay, we got a 90 drive-by. I'm gonna do another one just to make sure. We got a 93 on that one. So what we'll do is a 91 and a half on drive-by. 91 and a half. So perfect. We'll jot down those scores, and we're gonna move on by putting a core into the mud edition next. Okay guys, so now we have the same mud edition, but we have the RJWC quiet core inserted on the inside. If you're wondering if you have one or not and you're not even sure, you can actually look in the pipe and there is a difference. You can see the quiet core insert. So this billet portion here just comes off and you put your insert in, and it's gonna quiet down the mud edition. So this is what we had before, and we're gonna test this out now. So the same thing, idle, 3K, and then a drive-by at 30 kilometers an hour. Let's do her.
Set?
All set. Good. That's good.
Yep. 3,000.
3,000. We got an 88.8 and a 93.3.
Drive-by?
Drive-by. So yeah, 88.8 and a 93.3. And if you're wondering, at the end of the video, I will go over all the numbers that we found just to clarify so you don't have to dig through the video. So 88.8 and a 93.3 so far, and we're going to get our 2 drive-bys in. I got an 89 there. Let's try that one more time. So I'm going to average that out to 90, so that works out. We'll go record that and we'll move on with the Krossflow next. So now we've got the RJWC Krossflow, and this is what we were focusing on. This is one of the biggest questions right now as far as what the decibel rating is. It's a pretty standard pipe from RJWC, but you'll notice some new features like the different tip, and I really like this RJWC Power Sports in black. pretty big fan. It's the little things for me, I guess. But this one has the spark arrestor and inner core, and after this we're going to test it without those things. But this is the big question mark, right? So same thing we've been doing for the last, just to reconfirm, it's idle, 3K run, and then the drive-by. So Trevor's going to get on there and give that a whirl. Start her up. Uh, 89.2. Go for 3K. Okay. 89.2 and 93. So we'll do a drive-by, and let's try that out. All right, he's coming around the corner. Let's get another one. Go on. 89.2, 93, and 84. There he comes. I got 85 on that one, 84 and a half. Okay, so we'll move on to removing the innards and try that again. Okay guys, so we're done the test with the inner core and the spark arrestor on the Krossflow from RJWC. So this one we have the core out and the spark arrestor out, and we're gonna try this again. So just like every other test, just to stress the point, we're gonna have our idle, our 3K RPM, and a 30 km/h drive-by. We are ready to go as soon as some traffic moves by. All right, let's start her up.
Okay.
Okay, 91. Let's do a drive-by. 91 and 99 so far for idle and 3 grand. We're gonna get our 2 drive-bys just like every other test. He's gonna cruise around and get a nice fair shot. I got an 89 there. 89. I got a 92 on that one. So we'll go about 91 on that. So let's go tally up the results. So you're probably wondering about the change of scenery, but this is day 2 of testing. So we just wanted to make sure we got the numbers right. So we contacted RJWC and they explained how they tested it versus how we tested it. I based some of the tests on OPP testing trailside stuff in Canada, and the way they tested it was EU standards, and we just wanted to make sure we were consistent on the tests. So we redid all the tests today, and what we're going to do is we have one final test left, and it's actually the stock pipe, and we'll have all the numbers available. So what we're going to do is show you what we did all day today so far, and that will just give you an idea of how we were testing it differently today. So yesterday was idle, 3 grand, and a drive-by, but we were doing it in Canadian standards at 2 feet back on a 45, 1 foot left. With this is 2 meters back on a 45-degree angle, and we made some changes to see if we can get some more accurate results, and it actually really panned out according to RJWC's numbers. So we have the decibel meter on a static stand. It's on its own, exactly like I said, 2 meters back on a 45, and we have the same bike in an open space, so that's all good. So we're going to show you what this test is going to look like. You'll see it back here. Trevor's going to get on the bike. We're going to start it up. We're going to do idle and 3,500 RPM, which is what RJWC was doing. And then what I'll do is I'll have all these numbers down below in the description, so you can see what test 1 and test 2 came about. And I'll see if I can even get RJWC's numbers on there too. So that way we're fully educated and we have as accurate as possible numbers. Some of these tests can be pretty involved, and there's obviously a lot of variables, but these are the numbers that we got in our results and testing. You can make up your own mind. So we'll move on. We've got our Bay Marine 850 XMR. Thanks again, Bay Marine, for lending us the bike. And I'm going to start up the meter. So you'll see we measured back. We have this X, it's on a tripod. This never moved for any of the tests. And go ahead, Trevor. So first up is idle. Okay, 3,500. Good. So as you can see, that's how we've been running the test all day today. We did every step of every pipe RJWC has, including the stock, so you guys can see that. So RJWC Mud Edition with the quiet core and spark arrestor, so all 3 steps. The Krossflow with its insert and a spark arrestor, all 3 steps. And of course a comparison to the stock pipe. So we've been hard at it with all these numbers, and we just wanted to make sure everything was right. And now that we have the same test as RJWC, everything really panned out as far as the numbers we were looking for. We weren't trying to create the scenario where we could have the same numbers. We just wanted to really do the testing ourselves and see how that compares. There is some differences in the machines with like European standards with catalytic converters, for example. They did a testing on a 650, but our numbers are actually really panning out to be very similar. So those minor differences you can see, but aren't going to be the make or break for the entire thing. So that's pretty cool. So pretty happy with that test, and we're going to get Trevor from Dirty Life to say a bit on that, and I think we'll call it a video. So let's see what Trevor has to say.
Yep.
So we're down in Belleville. We stopped and we grabbed a coffee, and that's like my Canadian lifeblood. I can't live without it. I think Trevor's figuring that out. We spent a week together, and got to make sure I have my coffee when I have the chance. But we've got the Bay Marine bike, Bay Marine Trenton. They were kind enough to lend us the bike so we could do some testing on the Krossflow and the Mud Edition and compare decibels and all that stuff. And really glad to have Trevor here. His experience in past lives with making sure companies roll smoothly, and his experience has led us to make a second attempt at the testing, try it a little more accurately. Like I was mentioning before, the amount of variables to consider is one thing. What we did was basically the best we could in an, more accurate, try to pinpoint some of these numbers. So when you guys call Dirty Life and say, hey, I'd like to get a Krossflow, what do you think about them? We can tell you the numbers in our own personal experience on that, like 850, for example. So educating ourselves on the products that that end up in your hands, I think, is pretty key. At least that's what Trevor tells me. I don't know if we can trust him.
Well, I don't know about trust. I do have a business to keep open. No, it was actually, for me, it was a great experiment. You know, especially yesterday, the results just were inconsistent to kind of what we expected. And then, you know, talking to Robin this morning and understanding, you know, how their testing was different than what we were doing, and getting something consistent between what they did and what we did was nice this morning. And today was probably a little bit more practical for what the regular rider would see. Instead of being, you know, 2 feet behind the exhaust, you're, you know, about 6 feet away from the exhaust and listening to it. And the sound, the decibel levels, you know, were consistently lower with the Krossflow versus the Mud series. That's really what we expected yesterday and didn't see as much.
So we're gonna post all the numbers below this video, but the pitch is, the Krossflow is a quieter exhaust. You still have all of your regular performance and build quality that you can expect from your Mud Edition. But now you have like a 3 to 6 decibel change, at least in our testing, from the 850 Outlander, which was very similar to the results when they tested on a 650 Outlander. So those are actually pretty cool and numbers. So these are the things that we're looking for, and they did their testing, we did ours. There's slight differences, like I was mentioning before. In the EU, you have like catalytic converters, for example. But even with that, we still had pretty much the same numbers when we followed their testing. And the cool part is, as far as from my research in local, like Canadian law, it fits perfectly within the decibel rating that they require if they wanted to do a trailside test. So that's pretty cool. Also, the retrofit, that's something. The way you can retrofit the new CrossFit innards into a Mud Edition, so you don't have to spend $1 billion on doing this and that, and I've already got a pipe. Well, you can actually change them out or modify. They have all sorts of different levels, and between the spark arrestor, the quiet core, and the Krossflow inner core, you have a lot of options.
Yeah, I think that's one of the nice things that RJWC did on this, and it's going to appeal to a lot of people, is that you can take that new Krossflow core and put it right into your Mud series exhaust, because the Krossflow exhaust, really, you know, cosmetically, the only differences are the black emblem and the black tip. It's still, you know, the same clamp that holds everything together. It's still the same can, the same inlet pipe, like there's no design changes there. So you still get the same quality that we've always had with the Mud series. And then, you know, if you bought a Mud series a few months ago or a year ago and it's just, you know, you want it to be a little bit quieter, then, you know, you throw those cores in and you should see, like we're expecting, you know, probably 3 to 6 decibels lower. Not huge by any means. It's not OEM quality or OEM levels, sorry, is a better way. But definitely quieter than the Mud series on its own.
So now you can look at these numbers in our testing. I'll always advise that, you know, you should do your homework on local laws and things like that. You know, and some bikes might change, very small changes, I would assume, between, like, let's say a 1000 and a 570. You just make sure you're within your limits as far as, you know, plus or minus decibel levels with your local regulations. But our testing absolutely, I think, proves very well that we're within the decibel rating for at least Ontario, from what I understand, and that's pretty cool. So it is absolutely a viable, quieter option, and you still have all the performance gains that you would have from most pipes through RJWC.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We've been looking for this quieter version for a long time. It's the most common question we get about exhaust is, you know, how loud is it? You know, am I going to be okay on the trails? Will I be okay taking it through town? And, you know, so now we can put some hard numbers on a single exhaust for an Outlander, which is, you know, probably one of the most common bikes out there, and give people some real experience, you know, practical experience of what it's going to sound like.
Yeah, I think as far as Can-Am side of the house, the Bay Marine UTV that we grabbed, I think, is a perfect middle ground. If you wanted to take a stab at guessing what the common denominator is for bikes on the Can-Am side, for me, I would say an 850 platform would be the absolute perfect one-time tester. It's likely easily the most common bike I see out there on the Can-Am side. So just because of the short frame package or the differences between a 650, 850 and a 1000, everyone tends to land on the 850, so pretty happy with that. And so yeah, now we're just gonna return the bike and you know, thank Bay Marine for lending it to us, and we're happy with the results. We had a really great opportunity here to get some real-time testing in and took advantage of it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have to say that it was great for Bay Marine. Thanks to you guys for, you know, helping us with that. As most people know, I'm a Polaris guy, but riding that Outlander sure was a lot of fun. So, you know, maybe Bay Marine will be losing an 850 XMR soon. Who knows?
Yeah, why not? To me, right?
Yeah. It actually looked really good in my garage, I have to say.
Yeah.
Even my wife thought it looked pretty nice. So maybe that's in our future.
Oh, the Lucky 7 grill you put on it too?
Yeah.
That's super nice.
Yeah, and I think you guys can see that. It's something that we want to do for Bay Marine, and of course for everybody, is get your bike customized a little bit so that it's unique to you. And Lucky 7 builds some really cool stuff, great designs on the rad covers. Check them out on our website, of course, or go check out Lucky 7.
There's a lot of these bikes out there, that's the truth. A lot of people have these high lifters and razors and whatever, but these companies allow you to kind of make it your own, and that's what is really cool when you show up to a ride and you see your buddy with, hey, I've got a Krossflow and I've got a Lucky 7 grill, but I did it this way, I did it customized, I got my logo on it, I got Bay Marine on it, I got whatever. I think customized bikes, just a little bit of your personality into the bike can really carry things a long way. But we're getting there. We're almost to where we're headed. So thanks, Trevor, Dirty Life, Bay Marine, Lucky 7, everyone involved. Of course, the people who make it all happen is more important than anything. These things just, you know, the questions that you guys have, the products you guys want, it all makes the door revolve. So yeah, I think we'll shut her down and we'll get to Bay Marine.